What you saw from that slow replay of that last bit of action was Juan Fernandez actually wanting to disrupt as if Master Jaworski.
We're crossing the twilight zone.
That's an eternity of basketball ahead of us.
This is an eternity of basketball. We are part of a globally Ballin network. And on the network, there's a show called Who the Heck Are We? Their latest episode with Dr. Michael Rico Messina, the Philippine basketball history enthusiast and collector. Check that out on their page. Most popular episodes on YouTube. Bernie Fabiosa's at number 1, Abby King, etc., all the way down to Manny Paner. Which one is your favorite? Keep watching us on YouTube. The Globally Ballin Network has original articles, audio and video projects, a bunch of shows on the right, and all, of course, the social media. Go to globallyballin.com to check all of that out. And catch our live episodes now on Twitter, on the Twitter page of Globally Ballin. So you can catch us instead of YouTube, Facebook. If you don't want those platforms, you can go to Twitter. We're there. Okay, here we are. This is episode 153. Charlie Cuna po once again, together with Jay Mercado today and Sid Ventura. And episode 153, guys, lots of excitement for this one because we tracked him down. He's ready to tell us his stories. One conference import for Añejo. Of course, that's Ginebra. But they were called Añejo at the time. Averaged 53.5 points a game, 15.6 rebounds, 3.9 assists. No, not too many assists because he was doing all the scoring. 2.6 blocks in that one conference, teamed up with a fellow named Tommy. And let's just bring him in because he's the one going to tell us all the stories. His name's Jumpin' Joe Ward. He's with us today. Hey, Coach, how you doing? Thanks for coming on the show.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, it's our pleasure that you're here, Coach. And because you're known as Jumpin' Joe Ward, but we remember the dunks and those 3-pointers and everything that you did here. 53.5 points per game. That's crazy. But let's go. Let's start from the start, Coach. I know you're from Georgia. Now you're based in Tennessee, but back then you were in Georgia. I know there's a lot of football over there in Georgia, some other sports. Why did you choose basketball?
Well, basically, man, it was something I've been doing since a kid. Football was never my thing. When I first picked the basketball up at the age of 11 years old, I used to get beat all the time by my Aunt Betty, who was a great, outstanding basketball player. And I started playing because I got tired of losing to her. And so I worked hard, became a decent player as a young man, and I played park and recreation. And from there, high school, because I went from park and recreation right to high school. And the rest is pretty much history. I continued to work, got better and better and better every day, and ended up being a pretty decent player. I was blessed to be the #1 basketball player in the state of Georgia, second best small forward in the country. And out of high school, I chose to go to Clemson University. And after my freshman year, I transferred back home to the University of Georgia, where I had an outstanding career before being drafted second round, 31st pick by the Phoenix Suns.
That's right. But tell us a little more about your aunt. You know, the lady.
Yeah.
You got to tell us about. I mean, you said she was a pretty good
Oh.
basketball player. Did she play varsity ball as well?
Yes, she did. She played high school basketball. She was left-handed. And we used to play in the backyard all the time, man. So I would spend my summers with my grandparents. And so we're playing on bed in the backyard on dirt with a nice little bicycle rim on a piece of wood. Her and I playing all the time. I just could not beat her. And then I grew. I went from 5'6" to 6'3", from the 6th grade to the 7th grade. So I got big enough that I could finally beat her. And when I beat her, man, I was the happiest basketball player in the world, believe me.
What, 5'6" to 6'3"? That's crazy in one summer.
Yes, one summer I did.
It's 9 inches. 9 inches, man.
More.
In one summer.
That's more than the growth spurt of David Robinson, because David Robinson tells us about that big growth. I think he grew 7 inches, I think, in one summer.
That's why I thought I was going to be 6'8", 6'9", or 7 feet, man. But I only got as high as 6'6".
Oh, that's tall enough. But growing up, Coach Joe, who were your basketball idols aside from your aunt, of course?
Oh man, 2 people. Man, Julius Erving, as we all know, is Dr. J.
Yeah.
And Pistol Pete Maravich.
Pistol
Those
Pete,
2 gentlemen, I was blessed. They was a part of my life. They was a part of mentoring me, teaching me, talking to me, encouraging me. They just kind of adopted me as a little brother, both of them. And I would listen to both of them, spend a lot of time with both Dr. J and Pete Maravich. And those 2 men, from a professional standpoint, was, mightily involved in my career and my life. So I thank God for him putting them 2 men in my life, because they was not only outstanding basketball players, but they was outstanding people. Dr. J is still alive, praise God. And now Pete Maravich is going home to be with Jesus, man. But Pete Maravich, when I left playing professionally in France, called me to encourage me, to let me know that I was having some problem at the time. Matter of fact, it was Spain. I was having some problem with the team, and they wanted to make a change. They wanted to get a bigger guy, and so I had signed a pretty nice contract with them. And they basically didn't want to pay me, but at the same time, we negotiated a settlement. And I talked to Pete Maravich during that week, and he encouraged me to come home. And so my wife negotiated the contract. We got the settlement, got on a plane, left Barcelona, Spain, came back to Atlanta, Georgia, and I went to visit my mom. And that evening, when I got from the airport going to my mom said, "Did you see the news?" And I said, "No, ma'am. What news?" She said, "Well, some basketball player passed away today." And so, I was sitting in her living room, and on the 5 o'clock news, when Pete Maravich's face came on that TV screen, man, I screamed and hollered, man. I was devastated, because I just talked to him 4 days before this happened. And so it was quite devastating for me, man. And so, it hurt me tremendously. So I lost a dear friend, a mentor, and a wonderful man. Oh my God, man. If you ever got a chance to spend time with this man, it was like basketball encyclopedia all day long. He knew more about basketball, man, than I could ever learn.
Yeah. Did you ever consider going to... Sorry, Charlie.
Yeah, go ahead, Sid.
Yeah. Did you ever consider going to LSU because of Pete Maravich?
No, I didn't meet Pete until the latter part of my professional career. Matter of fact, Pete and I and Mark Price, who played with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Mark also played at Georgia Tech. We had a speaking engagement in Atlanta, Georgia, for Dr. Charles Stanley at his church, at First Baptist Church of Atlanta. So that was my first encounter of meeting Pete Maravich. And so when I met him, man, he spoke last, Mark spoke first, I spoke second. And I was so intrigued by Pete's life, man, that I just knew I wanted to stay connected to this man. And he was so kind to pull me into his life and keep me involved in his life. So I finished my college career and went pro. And so during my professional career, he kept me under his wings. He had a basketball camp called the Pistol Pete Maravich Homework Basketball Camp. And I used to go, it'd be about 250 kids a week. and Pete used to teach the game, and I learned from a standpoint of my camp, all the stuff that I do at my basketball camp, I learned from Pete Maravich. And so that relationship, man, was just special. And I thank God for it because he was a wonderful man.
Did you meet?
I'm sorry. Go, Charlie.
Okay. Did you meet? Did you know about Pete Maravich before that? Would you be watching him on TV and all that, or did you just meet him there at the church?
No. Pete Maravich, man, was averaging. Matter of fact, his record in the Southeastern Conference. Right. You talk about me averaging 53 points a game in the Philippines. Pete Maravich averaged 44 points a game in the SEC, which that record will never be broken. I don't care what.
With no 3-point shot. With no 3-point shot.
Exactly. With no 3-point shot. Yeah. I'm talking about 6'7" point guard, man. This guy was incredible ball handler, but Pete could flat shoot the basketball, man. So I just knew about him like any other kid. So when I met him in Atlanta there, I was blown away, man. I was just like amazed to finally get a chance to meet someone that all I could do is watch on television when he played for the Atlanta Hawks and admire him and shake his hand for the first time in my life, man. I was honored.
That's right. Jay.
Yeah, you said he inspired you. What part of his life did he inspire you?
Well, the part as far as his relationship with Christ, Pete was a partier at first. You know, he'll tell you in a minute. His life, he was a wild man. And then one day he went to go do a basketball clinic at Dr. Who was his name? Forgot this name. It'll come to me in a minute. But he went out to Colorado to do a basketball clinic for this huge ministry. And in being there, Pete spoke and shared a lot with what is his name? I can't think of the name. But he would tell me about it, and that's where he met Christ, because while being out there, Pete was influenced by some people, and he finally settled down because he started realizing that there was more to life than basketball. And so he started, basketball was his God for a long time. And then he finally realized that I got a wife and 2 kids, and so his life began to change. And when he was out in this basketball camp, he spoke, he got saved, and gave his life to Christ, and the rest is pretty much history. He started realizing that, I want to be able to have a legacy where I make a difference and an impact. Now, back then, it was said that Pete had 5 goals in life. He wanted to live to be 40 years old. He wanted to consider to be one of the top basketball players to ever live. He wanted to be one of the highest paid basketball players to ever play the game. And he wanted to win an NBA championship. And so those 4 things, and there was one other thing he said. He wanted to be a Hall of Famer. Well, Pete unfortunately passed away at 40 years old.
Right.
The year that he passed away, that year, Pete was with the Boston Celtics. And when he was with the Boston Celtics, he would have been with Larry Bird, but Pete walked away from the game. When he walked away from the game that year at 40 years old, the Boston Celtics won the NBA championship. Pete was on that team, but he walked away and quit. He died at 40 years old. When he played for the Atlanta Hawks, he was the highest paid NBA player at the time. And you and I, all of us know that now Mr. Pete Maravich is a Hall of Famer. So all those things were basically his desires. And all of them came to pass based on what he spoke and what he said.
Yeah, he's incredible. Great that you had the opportunity to meet a guy that we just watch. We watch his tapes. We see all those no-look passes and the floppy socks and the hair and all of that. That's what we know about him. But yeah, dying so early, that was tragic. Playing, but he was playing basketball when he passed away, right? He had a heart attack on the court.
Matter of fact, he was doing a basketball clinic at this church in Colorado. Man, I cannot believe I cannot believe I can't say who this man was, but it'll come to me one of these days. I'll be able to say it. But you're right, he was playing basketball. And an interesting thing, when Pete passed away, there were some questions I had. I was hurt. So I was so hurt. And I was talking to God about it, and I was saying some things that, how can a man like this leave so early? And one of the things, man, that I needed some closure. I needed some answers, and I really needed to understand a lot of stuff, man. That I was blown away. And so when I was talking to God about it, and I was praying, and one of the things that happened that week, a couple of weeks later, I got a letter in the mail, and it was addressed to me from Pistol Pete Maravich. So you can imagine getting a letter from someone that had passed away.
Yeah.
So I was almost afraid to even open the letter.
Right, yeah.
So I opened it, and here's what it said. It talked about a lot of things about my career, about me playing. He was looking forward to spending more time with me. But at the end, there was this scripture that was at the end. It was John 14:26. Now, mind you, I need an answer as to why. So I'm talking to God about it. I say, why this? Why would you let something like this happen to Pete? I was blaming God for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the scripture that was at the end of that letter. It says, John 14:26, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you, not as the world do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You have heard me say to you, I am going away and coming back to you. If you love me, you would rejoice because I said, I am going to the Father, for my Father is greater than I.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have told you before it comes, that when it does come to pass, you may believe. I will no longer talk much with you, for the ruler of this world is coming, talking about Satan, and he has no hold and nothing in me, but that the world may know that I love the Father, and as the Father gave to me. And so I took that scripture that Pete was sending me a message that everything, first of all, was going to be all right, and that he was home with the Father, and that Pete had peace. That was one of the things that Pete used to do all the time. He used to always talk about going to heaven all the time. And I used to tell Pete, look, Pete, I'm trying to live as long as I can. I ain't trying to go to heaven no time soon. So I like earth, I like being here. But he was content, but always wanted to go home to be with Jesus. So right away, that brought a lot of peace to me, because I knew and I know that Pete was in a much better place. So that meant a lot to me. And that letter, I carried that letter for years, and I lost it later on in life, man. And that something that I wish I had to this day, because those floppy socks was his letterhead. With just his no socks. So that letter was very special to me, man.
Right. That's a great
great
Pete Maravich story.
Yeah.
Crazy. But let's go back to you, Joe. I mean, let's go back to you. How does a guy, so you're playing varsity ball in high school, and you're pretty good, because obviously there are a lot of NCAA Division I schools looking at you. How do you end up at Clemson?
When I was in the 8th grade, I played against a young man from Thomason, Georgia, where my dad is from. His name was Daryl Lockhart. Clemson was recruiting him. He was 6'9", center, can shoot the ball, handle the ball, man, outstanding player. So I made the varsity as an 8th grade. So that summer, we played summer basketball. We played against Ari Lee, and we played against Daryl Lockhart. And Dwight Rainey was in the stands scouting Daryl Lockhart. So as an 8th grader coming up to be a 9th grader that next season, I played against him that summer and had an outstanding performance. I mean, I was dunking, jumping, scoring. And so Dwight Rainey came up to my high school basketball coach at the time. His name is Bobby York. And he said, Bobby, if that young man right there continued to get better, we might offer him a scholarship one day. So Coach York told me that. By telling me that they might offer me a scholarship, man, it meant the world. So I took that might and began to work and work and work and work, that I want to turn that might into a possibility, a reality, that they'll come back. Well, I didn't know that not only Clemson came back, but 299 plus people offered me a scholarship. So I was blessed to have over 300 scholarship offers when I graduated from high school.
Wow.
And I went to visit San Diego State, Louisville, North Carolina, Kentucky, Auburn, Georgia. I visited all these schools, but I reverted back to the very first school who said, if I continue to work hard and get better, they might offer me a scholarship. So when I signed with Clemson, I say, am I good enough? They said, son, yes, you are. Sign right here. So I signed, and that was because of Dwight Rainey. And I played in the ACC for a year. And after my freshman year, I transferred back home to the University of Georgia because there was a difference in style of play, playing in the ACC versus the SEC. You know, I like pressing, getting up and down the floor, and getting all over guys. We didn't do that much in the ACC at the time. When I was playing for Coach Bill Foster at Clemson, wonderful man. We had an outstanding team. Matter of fact, Larry Nance had just went pro when I got there in 1981. So I was considered like his rook. And little did I know, he was a mentor to me when he was at Clemson before he went to the Phoenix Suns. And then I get drafted by the Phoenix Suns in 1986. Now I'm teaming back up with Larry Nance. So that was wonderful.
That's right. You know, I love the fact that all these names that you're saying, Dr. J, Pete, Larry Nance. You know,
we grew up.
You've been blessed.
But,
these are the guys we idolized as well when we were younger. But what happens after a school like Clemson gives you a scholarship to play, and then after a year you decide, I'm going back to Georgia? What did Coach Foster say, and the rest of the Clemson people?
I mean, you know, that was like anything. They were disappointed. I was kind of impatient because I wanted to play a lot. I didn't play as much. I mean, I only played back then. If we got behind offensively, I would get put in the game, and then I would play decent enough to score and then get us back in the game, and then I'll be taken out and sitting down. Back then, you know, freshmen, you know, really didn't get a whole lot of chances. Nowadays, freshmen just run a whole program for the most part. And, you know, these are outstanding young men today as far as playing the game. So basically, you know, it's just one of those things that worked out just right that I could leave Clemson and head back home to the University of Georgia, where, you know, you had Dominique Wilkins, James Banks, Vern Fleming, Gerald Crosby, Donald Hartree. We had athletes, Terry Fair. We had guys, man, you know, from a standpoint of pressure defense, you know, full court pressure, we climb all over you. As a matter of fact, my first year back to Georgia in 1983, I was redshirted that year, and that's the year we ended up. Dominique Wilkins went pro with the Atlanta Hawks. We ended up going to the Final Four. We got beat by NC State, who went on eventually
to win it.
Coach Jeff Valvano.
Cinderella run.
With Jimmy Valvano. Valvano was running all over the place, right?
Yes, sir, all over the place. That was good. Yeah, we was in that Final Four.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Were you a shooting guard or a small forward?
In the pros, 2 guards, small forward. In college, I played 3, 4, and 5. Matter of fact, I ended up starting as a center my junior year.
Oh, okay.
And so that's one of the things that helped our team. I mean, I was an outside shooter. So the Sam Bowies, the Melvin Turpins, all the bigs in the SEC would have to come out on the floor and guard me, and they really couldn't because they were too big, too slow.
Yeah,
so that became a plus for me.
That's right.
And then the next year, my senior year, I ended up playing small forward, no 2 guards. So he wouldn't let me play the guard spot, so I played small forward my senior year.
That's crazy that you played center at the Division I level, you know, at your height.
Yeah.
So you were basically a mismatch to everybody in one way or another.
That's why they call me Jumping Joe.
You weren't the tallest in your team, right?
Huh?
You were not the tallest in your team.
Exactly. So that helped out. That helped me out to be able to play because the bigs that we had back then didn't really shoot the ball that well. So I could shoot it, I could defend, I could rebound. So he would put me in and let me start as a 6'5", 6'6", center.
I think that's crazy for Coach Durham to do that, to even think of making you a center. Because you didn't play center in the past, right? You weren't a center in high school.
No. Except my
How did you feel when he said, "Hey, you're going to play center, Joe"?
Man, I don't care. I was utility man. As long as I was on the floor, that's all I cared about. So I like, thanks, Coach. I'll play center. It don't matter. As long as I'm playing, that's all I wanted to do.
Did you post up
Okay.
or face a basket?
What's that?
Did you post up or did you face a basket?
No, face the basket. So that's one of the things I like
Yeah.
because
There
our
you
offense,
go.
that I would come to the top of the key, receive the
Mhm.
basketball, and I could shoot all day because the big was scared to come out and guard me because if you came out, I go right by you and
Yeah.
dunk it. So they
Yeah.
didn't want to get the
That
basket.
explains.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
explains.
And you would go over them anyway, even if they were there.
Yeah.
That's why they call you jumping Joe.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll ask this now already because someone already put it in the comments. Did they ever measure your vertical leap, Joe?
Yeah.
Yes. Matter of fact, it got up to 47 inches.
Wow,
man.
that's pretty high.
Crazy.
4 feet.
That's
47
like
Almost
inches.
4 feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Back
Joe
in-
Johnson
wow.
levels, huh?
Yeah, back in the day, I used to,
Joey Johnson.
out of high school and college, I used to do dunk shows because when you back then I'm 59, I'll be 60 in January, and my last dunk took place when I was 52 in one of my basketball camps, and I'll never forget it, man. I was the kids have been talking to me about I had 500. We was blessed. We averaged about 500 kids a week that come to our camp, and they kept saying, "Let me see your dunk. Let me see your dunk. We want to see your dunk." I said, "No, I won't be dunking this week." I finally said, "Okay, guys, I'm going to dunk this week." Well, I did. And when I took off, I pulled a groin on the way up,
Oops.
and I pulled a groin on the way down.
Oh my gosh. Double groin injury.
Yeah. And I laid down the final, and I told my nephew, CJ, I said, CJ, go get your auntie. Goldie. I said, Goldie, go get your auntie. Tell her to come help me. But it was amazing. I finished the week, but boy, I was in a lot of pain.
Oh my God! Yeah. Then you realize, I'm not that young anymore. Huh?
No. And I have not
Jumping Joe can't jump that much anymore.
No, sir. It ain't no 47 no more. It's more like 17.
That's right. That's right. I think this is perfect because we're talking about you're already in NCAA Division One. We're in that part of your story. Maybe we should start this segment of our show. It's called the Time Capsule, Joe. The Time Capsule. Sid prepared a bunch of photos from your career, so we'll go through them and then we'll tell stories along the way. So let's enter the Time Capsule now. This portion is brought to us by Champs House of Chicken.
Whoa.
You can try their house roast chicken. It's good stuff. We just had some
Yep.
over the weekend.
I like to have some of that chicken.
We're going to give you some of that. Joe, you visit the Philippines, you're going to get some house roast chicken for sure. So check out the social media of Champs House of Chicken. They deliver to Metro Manila, Cavite, and Laguna via Lala Move and Tok Tok. So check them out. Champs House of Chicken on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, let's look at photo number 1.
Here
There
we
you
go.
go.
Oh.
George.
Wow.
You mentioned Sam Bowie.
Sam
You mentioned
Bowie,
Sam
yeah.
Bowie.
Look
There
at
he is.
that.
There you go.
Yes.
You played with some great players at the University of Georgia. You mentioned Vern Fleming, of course. Jim Banks played here in the Philippines as well.
Yes,
An import
exactly.
a couple of years before you came. And then later on you had guys like Cedric Henderson.
Yes.
Tony Mack also played here in the
Yes.
Philippines as
Ginebra.
well.
Wow.
Yeah, for Ginebra, for the same team that you played for. So tell us about these guys and the camaraderie you had. I mean, were most of them homegrown? Were they Georgia guys or were they from outstate?
Out of state. Matter of fact, Tony Mack was from Florida. Matter of fact, Harvest McMillan was from Florida. Richard Cohen right there from Macon, Georgia. And the picture here against Georgia Tech, that shot right there, Georgia Tech was number 1 in the country. That's John Sally, Craig Neal,
Bruce
you got
Dalrymple.
Mark Price, Bruce Dalrymple.
Dwayne Farrell. This is the guy guarding
Dwayne
Dwayne Farrell. Uh-huh.
Hey, there was 6 guys on that floor. All 6 of those guys played in the NBA. We was losing by 1 with I think about 15 seconds to go in the game. Coach Durham called a timeout. And when he called timeout to run this play, it was a pick down where guard would come down so the pick for me to flash up to the top. And I came to the huddle in the timeout. I kept saying this scripture, I can do all things through Christ which strengthen me. I kept saying that. And they kept trying to get me to come in the huddle to go over the play. Joe, get over here. Joe, get in here. Get in here. Coach Durham said, leave that fool alone. He'll be all right. He know he's going to take the shot. So I never came to the huddle. So I kept saying that. So when the pick down, I kept saying I can do all things that Christ will strengthen me. I popped it to the top, received the basketball, and shot the winning jump shot to beat Georgia Tech by 1 point. And there's a photo that was taken. There was 6 players on the floor because Craig Neal was trying to get off the floor before I took that shot. And he was trying to run off, and all 6 guys on the floor, and I took the shot, and the referee didn't even see it, but it didn't matter because I made the shot to beat Georgia Tech at the time.
So there should have been a technical foul, right? Too many
Should have
players on the
been,
court.
but it didn't matter because I made the jumper, and so we beat.
That's
them.
right.
In the
That-
end,
that's the
was a
important-
good place to play.
That's the important part. For those who don't remember, the photo on the right side, when Joe's looking out to pass, I guess you're going to want to pass. The guy posting up beside you, that's Jim Banks, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, James.
Yes.
He played for Magnolia in 1986, the San Miguel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, what a small world.
Yeah, that's
He
crazy.
also replaced. He also came in as a replacement import, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
I think
Jim
he replaced.
Banks.
I
Jim
think he
Banks.
replaced Don Collins, right? Don
Yeah.
Collins.
Yeah.
Yes,
For
yes,
roof size.
exactly.
Don Collins, who played for the Washington Bullets.
There you
But
go.
and that on the right side, that's Cedric Henderson, where I got the ball right there, and somebody got their hands up guarding me. That player to the right, that's Cedric Henderson. Now, I was the 31st pick in the NBA draft in '86, and Cedric Henderson was number 32. I went to Phoenix, and he went to the Atlanta Hawks, and he and I was roommate together.
That's amazing.
And then the middle photo, that's of course Sam Bowie against going up against Kentucky. Now I remember you played in Clemson, which is in the ACC, and North Carolina had a rookie guard also that year named Michael Jordan, right? And
yes,
I'm just wondering, did you ever play against the University of Houston during your time at Georgia?
Against Houston?
Yeah,
I did.
Phi Slamma Jamma.
Yes, matter of fact, my freshman year when I played at Clemson, we played in the Houston Kettle Classic, and that's the first time I saw Akeem Olajuwon.
There you go.
Michaud, Clyde Drexler, and all those guys. We played in Texas in the Houston Kettle Classic. We played against Houston, and Iowa was there as well. Iowa had at the time big fella, two big guys, Michael Payne and Stewart, big guy, left-handed. We got beat by Houston, who ended up playing against Iowa for the championship, and so we did. I played against Phi Slamma Jamma and all them guys. Now they wasn't Phi Slamma Jamma back then. They later became that because Akeem couldn't. He wasn't not all. I mean, he wasn't that good at that.
He wasn't. He wasn't very coordinated.
Oh my God, he became the man later on in life. But that time in 1981, he wasn't that good.
So you during your college career, you were able to go up against the top 3 picks of the 1984 NBA draft, right? Hakeem, Sam Bowie, and Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and see, Michael and I came out at the same time. We both were in the class of 1981. Manuel Forrest at the time was number 1 in the country. I was 2, and MJ was 3. But MJ was a late bloomer when it comes to high school ball and everything. So he and I go way back, way back. And we've been blessed to play against each other, high school wise, college wise, and professional wise. And then we play a lot of golf. He has a celebrity golf tournament, and for a number of years, I was one of the celebrities that would play in his celebrity golf classic.
Wow!
Years now, but at the time, we play a lot of golf together and stuff during that time.
What is your playing weight at that time? Were you 180, 190?
Back then?
Yeah.
My playing weight at the time was 211.
211. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's in the pros. 211. Some of these pictures here in college, I was like a $195. My freshman year, I was 195, and then sophomore, junior, I was about 210, 211.
Oh wow. Okay. And you could still jump that way, yeah.
Oh yeah. That was never a problem.
Never. How did you develop the leaping ability, Joe? Is it something you worked on? Like Spudweb tells the story of how he would, make his legs stronger and all of that. Did you actually work on that, or was it inborn?
My main thing was, I tell kids even to this day, get a jump rope, spend a lot of time jump roping, running stadium steps, getting in a pool, ocean, a lot of water with tennis shoes on, doing defensive slide and finding some, way high water and jumping up and down in the water, up and down. But the main thing that I think contributed to my verticals was jump roping and everything.
Okay, wow, okay.
Jump roping.
So listen up, kids. I know that the kids don't watch our show because it's the old guys who watch our show. Yeah, but if there's any kids watching, do the jump rope. You want to jump out.
Run the steps and stand and get a jump rope. Guarantee you'll pick up some inches for your vertical.
That's right. What are your most memorable moments playing for Georgia?
Most memorable moment was playing against Bill Foster when I transferred from Clemson and went back to Georgia. he left Clemson and became the head coach for the University of Miami.
Right.
So we ended up playing in the NIT against Bill Foster, my old coach. And so we played down in Miami, and they beat us by 1 point. They hit a shot at the buzzer. We was going to win the game, but they hit a shot at the buzzer to beat us by 1. I had 42 points that night. And I'd have gave up all 42 points just to have a chance to beat him by 1, if that would have been the case, because I wanted to beat him just that bad.
Yeah. Well, you always want to do that against your former team, former coach.
Yes. Yes.
You won. Who was a guy that you matched up? You know, like it was a fierce matchup when you knew Georgia was going to play whatever school. You and he were going to go at each other all the time. Were there people like that?
It's simple. Auburn, because Charles Barkley and I was in the class of 81. So Charles and I go way back. So I dunked on Charles on CBS. We played him in our place on national television. I took off on one side. He came in from the other side, and I jumped, and I took off and dunked on Charles. To this day, he won't never let me live that down. He always talking about
Okay, that's great.
playing against him was always a big highlight because he always tried to pay me back. He tried to jump back on me, but I would never let that happen.
That's great. So you played against Barkley as well, and you also mentioned Mel Turpin, right? So
Yeah,
Dinner Bell.
Yeah, all of those were among the top 5 picks of the '84 draft.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right.
Yeah, best of the best.
In 1984, you're right.
Yeah. You went up.
Who was the better center? Was it Sam Bowie or Mel Turpin?
Oh, it was easy. I mean, Sam Bowie, man, was just incredible, man. Had he not had those feet problems, the injuries and stuff, man. This dude, man, he could handle the ball, he could shoot it, he could do everything, man. 7'1", 7'2". He was phenomenal, man. I'm telling you, incredible.
Yeah, smart, really smart too.
Yes.
Good passer and all of that. Okay, great. Let's look at the next photo, please, Claude. Okay, so you're playing well in Georgia. You have some honors. Your second team, I think, all conference or something, and all American, and then eventually NBA scouts are watching you, and they're looking to pick you up. Did you know that the Phoenix Suns were going to draft you?
No, matter of fact, I was encouraged or told when I came out of high school. I went to Portsmouth and Chicago. Back then we had a couple of pre-NBA camps to go to out of college. And I was projected to be a 5th or 6th round draft pick based on my numbers when I was at Georgia. But because I performed so well in Chicago and I played so well in Pittsburgh and at the PIT Classic, I went from a 5th, 6th round, shot right up, and was told that, I probably end up going higher. I didn't know I would go 31st pick, 2nd round. And so that was a direct result of me working hard in the offseason, not, letting any grass grow under my feet, getting myself prepared. So when I got drafted, if given a chance, I would be ready and I would be prepared.
So when you got to Phoenix, what was it like?
Oh, my God. It was beautiful, man. Hot all the time. And it's one of those things, man, where, it was different because I'd never been to Arizona before. So after I got drafted, all the rookies, matter of fact, I'm looking at a couple of guys in this photo that was there a year before I was. Myself, William Bedford was the number 1 pick. I was number 2 at 31st. Raphael Addison was the 3rd rookie. Kenny Gaddison was the 4th rookie. Jeff Hornacek was number 5. And Grant Gundersack was number 6. So we had 6 rookies on our team in 1986 there with the Phoenix Suns. So that was kind of special because no team had ever signed 6 rookies like that before until then.
Yeah, a bunch of young guys. Of course, Bedford didn't pan out. But I'm looking at this photo right now. There's 3 PBA imports in this photo, no? FYI, Cedric Toney, and of course Bernard Thompson also played in the PBA as well.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so three PBA veterans in this photo.
And Cedric,
of course, Nick Vanos, we know what happened to him. He passed away in that plane crash. So rest in peace.
Me and AC Green was together in Los Angeles. We had just got finished playing the Lakers that night during the summertime, and we flew from LA to the Virgin Islands to do a basketball camp and clinic with Walt Frazier at the time. So we flew down there. And when we got there, we heard about the plane crash and the whole nine, man. That was pretty devastating, man. And I just told Nick, we had just finished with the LA Summer League because he and I played together. All of us, me, him, and Cedric Tony, we played in the LA Summer League together with the Phoenix Suns. And we, told each other bye and that we would see each other come October when we had to report to camp. And when we saw that crash, man, it was devastating, man. It just tore me apart.
Yeah. I remember this all over the news as well.
Yeah.
CNN Sports Late Night had that.
Yes.
How did you end up with number 32, by the way?
My number 32?
Yeah.
31st in the draft was
the number. Your jersey.
Oh, my jersey. Since I was in high school, Dr. J, when he played in the ABA with the Virginia Squires and the Nets, he had number 32 back then before he got to the Philadelphia 76ers, where he later ended up getting number 6.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the first part of his career, if Dr. J was number 32, I was going to be number 32.
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Of course,
and I've been wearing 32 my whole career because of Dr. J.
Yeah. But how was the experience though? So you guys were playing preseason games and you were part of the team and all of that. Were you rookie Hayes? Did you have to carry the bags for the vets and all of that?
Oh man, listen. I'm looking at some of the guys right now, man. They used to make me go to McDonald's at 3:00 in the morning to go get them something to eat. Hey, Larry Nance, and my roommate was Walter Davis at the time.
Oh wow, the Greyhound, yeah, one of the best.
And, he would say, "Hey, Rook, I need you to go make a run for me right quick." So I jump up out of bed, put my shoes on, man, and go get him something to eat and come on back and make sure I took care of it because it was so much fun back then, man, that you did that kind of stuff. And one time, it was Gerald Henderson, matter of fact. I was with the Phoenix Suns another year, and Gerald called me and said, "Hey, Rook, I need you to come go wash my truck." And he would give me $100 bill, and I go wash his truck. And I come in and get ready to give him his change. He said, "Keep the change." I said, "Oh man, this is prosperous, man. I like this." So I enjoy that. A $6 car wash, I get a chance to keep $94. I love
it. Here's a question: Did you do a dunk contest with Larry Nance in practice?
Yep.
No, we used to do some dunk stuff, but a lot of the dunks that Larry used to do, I copied a lot of those dunks and stuff and everything. Yeah. So, those guys as they get older, man, they don't do stuff like that anymore. They just, they get their paycheck, they play when they got to play. And you're a young man coming in, you want to play every day. But they're like, "No, Rook, we're going to rest today." I was hungry. I was trying to play as much as I could.
Yeah, what's the next photo? Yeah, let's check the next photo, Claude. Okay, so this happens. So after Phoenix, you move to the CBA and you play for a bunch of teams.
Yes.
What kind of an experience is that? Lots of crazy stories about the CBA, Joe.
Oh, hey, man, you know what? I cherish every single one of these teams, man. Every one was absolutely special to me. Every one of them. Starting with the Savannah Spirit. Mm-hmm. And I played there. Henry Bibby, who played for UCLA and also the Philadelphia 76ers. He was my coach. And that was my first experience playing in CBA. And we was an outstanding team. One of my greatest memory was we played up in Virginia one night, and I went up to get an defensive rebound, and someone went underneath me, and I hit the floor, and I bounced like a basketball. I was pretty hurt. 3 days later, matter of fact, this happened on a Friday, and I had a speaking engagement in Savannah, Georgia that Sunday. I wasn't feeling well, and I was hurting in my side. So I left and I had to go to Augusta to visit with my wife and see her. And when I was there for a couple of days going to visit with her because she was staying with my mother-in-law, I had this pain that wouldn't go nowhere. So I called my team trainer and he told me, "Get back to Savannah as soon as you can." So I got in the car, drove back to Savannah, and he told me to go straight to the hospital. And I went to the hospital and they immediately did an MRI on me. And I had, unfortunately, a 16.5-inch blood clot running from the left side of my chest down to the bottom of my right. So I was immediately put in intensive care. While being there, it was one of those things that it was touch and go. And a lot of people thought that I was in serious trouble because I was really, because if that blood clot breaks loose, it would cause a massive heart attack, and I would be, I pretty much lost my life on the spot. But when the doctor came in to see me, he gave me two choices. He said, you can either use heparin or Coumadin. One of these blood thinners should be able to help you. So I said, man, I'm going to pray and trust God, and you give me some of that heparin. So I got that blood thinner. And I started taking that blood thinner, and it really, man, it helped, along with prayer and trusting God, man. I mean, my life was spared. Now, the craziest thing about this experience, my doctor, Dr. Thomas, who was a specialist in dealing with my case, I noticed all of a sudden he wasn't coming to see me like in the middle of the week. Come to find out, his wife died of a massive heart attack. It's the same thing that could have happened to me. And what happened was they woke up in the middle of the night. She sat up. She looked at him. He looked at her. And she just fell over dead and passed away. And so when I started asking the nurse and everything about it, I said, what happened to Dr. Thomas? I didn't see him anymore. And they said, well, Mr. Ward, we hate to inform you and tell you, but Dr. Thomas' wife passed this past week of a massive heart attack. Now, how awesome this lady was, while she was alive, they had named one of the West Wings after her. That's how awesome of a woman she was. And the craziest thing is, later on, Dr. Thomas came to see me, and he told me, he said, it's amazing. I could work to save your life, but I couldn't save my wife's life. That was pretty deep for me, pretty touching and stuff. So that was my, experience there in the Savannah. I got traded. When the team got sold, it got sold to the Tulsa Fast Breakers. And going to Tulsa, we won a CBA championship. And Henry was the coach there. Of all the players that we had at the time, he only requested one guy to go with him, and that was me. So we won a CBA championship, and I ended up winning the championship, and then I was very successful. And then the Rapid City Thrillers, Lord have mercy, traded to bring me to South Dakota. My absolute fun place to play. I got so many wonderful memories in South Dakota, man. I got family up there, people I love that love me. And, man, God just took off with the ministry, with our basketball play. When I retired in Rapid City and went full-time in the ministry. And I'll never forget it. One Thanksgiving, there was an accident in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I was living at. 8 kids was in a car. There was supposed to be 9. But this one young lady got called into work, so she couldn't be with the guys that day. And so all 8 people was in the car. They tried to beat a train going across the track.
Wow.
Train hit them and killed all 8 kids. And I was there again. I was devastated, man. So I was watching that on the news. I called the Rapid City Thriller and said, listen, I'm coming out of retirement. I'm coming back. And I went back to South Dakota, and I signed. When I signed, man, they sold 8,000 tickets, season tickets, just for me coming back. And I ended up playing well. I was averaging 40-some points a game and had a 10-day call-up to go to the Philadelphia 76ers. But the coach at that time blocked me from going because they had just sold 8,000 tickets. They were not going to let me get out of town. So I didn't get a chance to get my call back up to go back to the 76ers at the time, man. So that was pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the middle of this run, that's when you ended up with Añejo, right? 88, late 88. How did that happen? Who got in touch with you?
Well, when I left the Philadelphia Sixers, when I got cut from the Philadelphia 76ers, I was with them. They drafted Hersey Hawkins first round. So when they finally signed him, I got picked up, and there was a scout. I can't think of his name, but he worked for Añejo in the Philippines. He was responsible for helping to bring a lot of imports to the NBA, from the NBA to the Philippines.
Right.
So at the time, I just left the 76ers, and before I could even get home good, matter of fact, I left Philadelphia and flew straight to Manila to play for Añejo. And I signed with Robert Jaworski, and I'm looking at my team photo right here, man. Oh my God. Look at the wonderful people, man. This is awesome. And so I got a chance to play with Añejo, down Apalayo, Joey and Chita Lasaga, Rudy Destrita, Oh man, we had an awesome team, man. God, man, them guys was just the absolute best, man. We would go out to eat, we would hang out. They would teach me a lot, man, about the Philippines. As a matter of fact, when your show came on today, and I can see the absolute the technology and the improvement and all the things that are going on, man, there in the Philippines. It looks beautiful, man. And so I tell you, man, that time in my life was very special.
Yeah. When you landed here in Manila, what was your impression? You
Wow.
got off the plane, yeah.
Oh man, it was incredible. It was quite interesting because there was a lot of people. And then when I finally went to the Ultra, you know about the Ultra,
Of course.
32,000 people. I say, man, I could get happy playing in a place like this because every single game was sold out. And it was one of those things, man, where you were always going to see a lot of folks coming to play basketball. And basketball was just the most important thing in the Philippines, man. It was like the number one sport. So to play for Añejo, to play for the fans of Añejo and all the people in the Philippines, I couldn't go anywhere, man, without being mobbed and people, talking to me, spending time with me. As a matter of fact, two of my dearest friends, and I saw them years later, the Leviste kid, Mark and JC, they was like 9 years old. And they later on went to the University of New York. But when they was 9 and 10 years old, them two guys had a $2,000 a week allowance. Mr. Leviste was a billionaire back then. He's very wealthy.
Right.
So they grew up to take over the business, man, when I came back years later. But I had a chance to meet with Mr. Leviste, who said, I want to meet the man that convinced my boys to go from spending $2,000 a week to $1,000 a week.
So, that's great. He's really thankful to you.
So he took me out to eat. I got a chance to meet him. And at the time, Mr. Leviste asked me a very important question. He said, Joe, you see these islands? It was about 12 or 15 islands at the time. And we went on a cruise. And so me and him, Tommy Davis and his family, he said, can I ask you a question? Why do you think I have all this stuff? I said, well, Mr. Leviste, it's simple. God has blessed you to be a blessing. So you are called to be a blessing to this nation, to this country, and help a whole lot of people out. Well, I said that, left, went on back, came home. 20 years later, I went back, and I went back with a young man by the name of K.P. Westmoreland, who brought a mentoring traveling team. We went back to the Philippines, and I was invited to come back. And they was announcing I was coming. I came, and at the time, Mark and JC now have taken over the company. They're grown men with their own family. They invited me out to dinner. And so there was a long Mercedes-Benz limo outside waiting to take me to dinner. And so when I came down from the hotel, all the American was saying, man, who got this limo out front here? Who's going somewhere special? And yours truly walked out of the hotel, walked down and got in the car. They're like, dude, where you going? I said, I got a dinner date. Got to go. See y'all later.
Nice.
That's a great story.
I got inside the limo and I'm riding around. This young lady was in the car with me who was a secretary. And she said, Mr. Ward, she said, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah. She said, you don't remember me. She said, but me, my boyfriend, and my entire family came to know Jesus when you played basketball here in the Philippines. Now, guys, I lost it. Now, I'm a very sensitive man. I began to weep and cry. I turned my face, I turned and looked out. I said, Lord, that was 20 years ago. And now I'm sitting in the car with a young lady who said her life was affected by me playing in the Philippines. Now, how special can that be? That was awesome, guys.
Great story.
And so I cried, I was in tears. And then I get to the hotel, I get to the restaurant. Mark and JC, their families, their kids, they all welcomed me. I got in the car and we walked up the step. I hugged everybody. We go inside the restaurant. And all of a sudden, someone said, Joe Ward, Joe Ward, Joe Ward. So I looked and saw the man. It was Mr. Leviste. So I ran to Mr. Leviste, hugged him. We hugged, embraced. We rejoiced and seeing each other. All of a sudden, the place got quiet. I turned around. I said, what's the problem? Mark and JC and the family were standing away from me. They looked perplexed. They looked shocked. I said, what's wrong? They said, Joe, our father had a massive heart attack. he haven't spoken in years, hadn't talked to nobody. I said, what? They said he'd been working on his church. He wanted to build a cathedral. For years, he'd been building a cathedral, and we couldn't understand why. I said, what? So they told me he wouldn't talk to nobody. All of a sudden, he see me. He started talking to me. What a miracle. So they said, man, this is incredible. I said, well, I told your dad many years ago, he was blessed to be a blessing. So this church, that this cathedral that he was building, this is one thing that God put on his mind to do. So the rest is history. We had a great dinner. It was great to see them. Spent great time with them. And I ended up coming back home, man. But that was so special to see all the people, man, that I was blessed to see as a result of me having a chance to play for Añejo.
Well, yeah, that's why until now, that's why people were excited when we posted that you're going to be our guest, because people remember you, Joe. I mean, it's not surprising that happened then. Now, how many years later? You know, it's 34 years after.
I see Eileen
Mora.
I said, Joe, even attend our church. Big time. I used to go to church with you guys and Aunt Ruthie. And listen, Miss Ruthie and all the people, man, back in the day, I had 3 bodyguards, 3 drivers, and 3 secretaries. I didn't need that one of them. I loved them. They just hung out with me because I didn't need nobody to guard me. I didn't need nobody to protect me because I love the people, man. So as I travel, I used to travel with a big entourage of people. And Eileen and Aunt Ruthie, man, oh my God, all the church community, man, they welcomed me with open arms. And the thing that was so exciting, man, is that Tommy and I used to get those invitations to go to dinner and eat at people's home. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, you talking about a brother could eat, and I loved it, man, because I would go anywhere they would offer me to come eat. 3, 4, 5,000 people would come around the house to hang out with me. So I love that, man. I get a chance to share Christ, share the gospel, and preach, and see people get saved. So, man, nowhere in America can you see and do anything like that except in the Philippines. So I love that.
Yeah. Your memory's so sharp.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Look at the whole day. Look at my boy.
Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you arrived, when you were on the way here, Joe, you're on the plane, you're coming here. Did they already tell you that you're going to be replacing one of these imports, and then you found out it's Kevin Gamble who went on to become a Boston Celtic?
Mm-hmm.
Were you aware of the situation that you were going to be replacing somebody?
Only when I got there. As a matter of fact, I asked the question. I said, so why are you guys bringing me here? Because I looked at the stats. I saw that Kevin Gamble was averaging 37 points a game. So I was like, what do y'all need with me? He said, well, we're in last place, and he's not averaging enough points. I got the message real quick. I said, okay. So I realized I better put that ball up and I better score. And that's what I did. Not selfishly, because, man, my teammates, man, they would pass me the ball, man. But I was shooting the ball very well back then, man. So I averaged about 25 shots a game, averaging 53 points a game, man. But I had Tommy Davis on one side, I was on the other side, and Robert Jaworski, man, Coach Jaworski, because they used to call me Joe Warski.
Yeah,
exactly. Joe Warski.
Yeah,
because you have to have. If you played for Añejo, you have to have a 3syllable last name, so they can spell your name.
So Robert
but
Jaworski.
You did have it. Yeah.
Somebody just wrote that. They said Joe Warski.
Joe Warski.
Do you remember who came in first? Did you? Was it you or Tommy?
Oh, Tommy came first.
For Billy Ray.
Yeah, Tommy was there before when I left the 76ers, I got on a plane in Philadelphia and flew straight to Manila. Mm-hmm. And we started playing, and they told me, you got to score some points because we're in last place. Yeah. So I started scoring a lot of points, and so the rest is history.
Yeah. Speaking of scoring a lot of points, our follower, Rod Vincent Yabe, said, this is your first game you scored 55. That was on October 20. But then you had back-to-back games. I dug this up online. Mm-hmm. Okay, an article written by a good friend, Ray Hoble. There's a game you scored 75.
Yes.
But you lost to San Miguel.
Yes.
And then a few days later, you scored 78.
Yes.
When you beat Shell. And the score line there was 181 to 173. And you went over. Can you imagine that, guys? Teams were scoring 180 points 30 plus years ago, and you scored back-to-back 75 and 78 points. At what point did you realize during your stay here that, man, I think I can score a lot of points in this league?
Well, it was very easy when you playing for someone like Robert Jaworski, because Jaworski would tell you in a minute, hey, you got to score. We got to win. So he made it a point to make sure I knew my job. And I mean, nobody was bigger than Robert Jaworski. He's like Michael Jordan of the Philippines. He was humongous, and he was loved by the country and everybody, man. So it was an honor to have a chance to play alongside him, man, because he was just a special man. So my teammates, man, them guys, man, they wasn't selfish, man. I mean, I passed the ball to them, Tommy. We just had a great nucleus of guys, man, that enjoyed each other. We hung out with each other. We would go eat together. Our practice, man, was just, I mean, it was like we were rock stars, man. I mean, when you play for Añejo, you're loved by everybody. I personally felt like I now know how Michael Jordan feels to play in the NBA because I couldn't go nowhere. Because everybody, I mean, free food all the time, good food.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Do you remember where you were staying back then?
Yeah, I stayed in a hotel, the Marriott. Matter of fact, I stayed in the hotel, and because I stayed there when I first got there, I ended up staying there the whole time. We had a couple of monsoons back then and everything, so it rained pretty hard, man. But for the most part, I had McDonald's across the street, Kentucky Fried Chicken across the street, and my favorite, Mark and JC used to take me out to eat all the time. A 9-year-old and a 7-year-old take you out to some of the most expensive restaurant in the world, and I would get duck. I love duck, man. That's right. I haven't had no duck since the Philippines. So, and I ain't never know that, man. So, so they would take we would go out to eat, man. But oh my God, man, the seafood, the shrimp, the fish, oh man, always special, man. God, you guys making me hungry right now thinking about it.
That's crazy. So so you got to that team, met all these guys, and then that the two imports, Gamble and Billy Ray Bates, were especially Billy Ray Bates, well loved here in the Philippines. He's considered one of the greatest. But they, by that time his game had dipped, so they replaced him, and then they replaced Kevin Gamble, who eventually becomes a pretty good NBA player. But you guys come in and you're two of the deadliest imports scoring wise, one of the most prolific tandems ever. And then you start winning games, as you said, and then the crowd's going nuts and all of that. In the midst of this, all that fame, you're there being mobbed everywhere you go, Joe. But what people remember is that before and after the game, you'd get on your knee, and you would pray in front of everybody. You would do that, and so people were calling you the Reverend Joe Ward. Not just jumping so hard. And was this something you would do even before? Would you get on your knees and pray before the PBA? You do that in the CBA as well and on the other leagues?
Always did. Matter of fact, I used to run a Bible study in the CBA, and I used to have a chance to have Bible study before games and with guys and everything. So I was doing that. And the crazy thing, Tommy Davis started praying that God would send a godly man with somebody he can pray with and spend some time with in the Word. And so he prayed me up, and that's how I came to the Philippines. So Tommy Davis was responsible for me coming to Manila. And when I got there, man, me and Tommy would have some outstanding, Bible studies until we would sit in the hotel, man, and talk about Jesus and talk about how we can make a difference in the lives of the people that we was able to be around. I mean, that man, Tommy Davis, man, was a very special brother in my life at the time, man. I sure enjoyed playing every second with him, and everything. So when we played, and I saw somebody flash up that said we averaged 100 points between the two of us.
Yeah.
And we did. And it was not selfish play, man, because we moved the ball and passed the ball. And the guys we played with, man, oh, my God. Like I told you, man, Joey and Cheetah Lasaga and Don Apalayo and Rudy the Streeter. Now, Rudy was a tough dude, man. He didn't play. He's an enforcer. Rudy didn't take no jump for nobody. So I used to hang out with Rudy all the time.
you knew who to hang out with, huh?
Yeah, man. Rudy. Hey,
because Rudy was your teammate, your friend, and your bodyguard.
You better know it. Now, all the way up to the night that we had the little incident that everybody talks about now, and unfortunately, Tommy had a little incident where he kind of closed hanged one of the guys from, I think it was Pure Food, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was Presto.
It was Presto. So Tommy kind of closed hanged one of the guys. So Tommy kind of ran and dropped behind me. Like, big brother, protect me. So I was like, okay, guys, everything fine, everybody okay. And so it was a little situation that happened when we was, had a little scuffle there, and we was hoping that it would be the end of it, but something broke out. Little love action broke out, and so we were touching and agreeing, and a lot of good stuff happened. So we was being like boys, and so we kind of tussled a little bit, and a little fight broke out. And as everybody know, this happened and that happened, and next thing you know, we was brawling all over the place. And the funny thing is, my man would say, "Oh my God, it's a minister, it's Joe Ward. I can't believe it. He's a preacher." So I said, "Well, Lord, forgive me, Philippine, forgive me." It was one of those things that was very difficult for me to turn the left cheek and the right cheek. So I was kind of, trying to protect everybody. And next thing I know, it happened, the fight. The worst fight, as they say, one of them in the history of the PBA.
Actually, the video will show it. It actually looked worse than it actually was. Just because a lot of people were involved. The fans were there and everybody.
Yes.
There were chairs being thrown. But if you really look at it, there weren't too many punches landed. Really, I mean,
That's crazy. You mentioned the chair because one of the chair cut an ear off. Somebody's ear got cut off, and I picked it off of the ground, tried to put it back on in Jesus' name.
What?
No way, really? Is that a fact?
Hey, and then also too, Tony White's little son, his little baby, but just a baby. And to this day, his ex-wife lives here in Knoxville. She tell my wife all the time. She said, "Your husband saved my child's life." So I'm forever grateful to your husband because when the fight broke out, she was panicking, and I got the baby and took the baby to safety and got them out of harm's way. So she never forgot that, man. But yeah, that was 32,000 people, man. That's what I love about the Ultra. There was never an empty seat in the house, man. Oh my God. Play in front of that many people every night, man. You couldn't help but play your best because it's like you walk in, you got the nice suit on, you got the nice shoes, you got all these people, and you got a great team. Oh, and you're winning too. Oh man, nothing like it.
That's right. So we got to discuss that the brawl, which everybody knows that. Everybody's seen the video. We're not going to show the video here. We just talked about it a little bit. But I guess that's our cue to take this little halftime break to remind everyone that we are part of the Globally Ballin Network, and who the heck are we? As Jacob Maniti as another guest on their show, episode 120, Ascal's development team midfielder. So check that one out on Who the Heck Are We? And then for Next Man Up with Diego and Jello, one round down in the UAAP. So watch that show again with the UP Maroons as hosts. Sid Ventura behind the scenes. And then watch and listen on Spotify to our show, An Eternity of Basketball. If you enjoy, please send us some love and rate us. A 5-star rating, please. And become our monthly supporter for $4.99 or 250 pesos on Spotify. We will recognize you, of course, on our show. Support AEOB, please. And then Globally Ball in Southeast Asia on Facebook. Follow that. Lots of tidbits. Of course, we're going to have some Joe Ward tidbits on the Globally Ball in Southeast Asia Facebook page pretty soon after this show. We'll cut some parts out and we'll post that on Globally Ball in Southeast Asia. Okay. Back to the time capsule. The second half of our time capsule is brought to us by Ni Hao Bread Bakery Tagaytay. So lots of good stuff there at Ni Hao Bread Bakery in Tagaytay. Check that out. Look at all those donuts and beignets and whole meal bread loaves. And I see Joe Ward shaking his head. He wants some of that. Yeah, you come to the Philippines, Joe. We're gonna give you some of that Ni Hao Bread Bakery stuff. Okay, so enjoy all of that. They deliver as well all around Cavite, Laguna, Metro Manila via Lalamove and Tok Tok. That's the number to call if you want to order. Okay, let's check out the first photo of the second half. Here you go. You're on the cover of Flash magazine, Joe.
Yes. Perry Young and Travis. Kenny Travis. Me and Kenny Travis and I played together in the WBL, which was the World Basketball League. We won a WBL championship in Dayton, Ohio. So I've been knowing Kenny for a long time. And matter of fact, Perry Young was on that team too. So all three of us played on the same team in the WBL.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What a coincidence. Okay.
That's right. We did.
Yeah. Joe, I just got to ask, among the opposing players, during your stint in the PBA, who gave you a rough time?
American-wise was Tony White.
Okay.
Okay.
Tony White was, he was a wizard, man. He was an incredible scorer, man. Matter of fact, he lived right here where I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. He played at the University of Tennessee. He played for the Chicago Bulls. Tony was an incredible scorer, outstanding. So he would give us fit, man. I mean, big time.
Yeah, he's a little guy. But...
Do you remember anyone among the locals,
Some of the guys, matter of fact, that played for Presto, I can't think of the names right now, but Presto was always like our big-time rival. Even before the fight, even before the brawl, you know, it's one of those things, man, where those guys, man, were very competitive, all of them. And so they never backed down. So Presto was really big into trying to kick our butt. So that's why things happened the way they did, man, because we wouldn't give each other no room for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the principal characters in that brawl, Philip Cesar, the guy that Tommy
got clothesline.
He became an Añejo player the following year, and he became an assistant coach for like 7 or 8 years for Añejo. He jumped fence. Yeah, the following season he jumped fence. He joined forces with Jaworski.
Well, you can't beat him, join him, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, but look, one of your rivals too at the time was the new team in the league. It was called Pure Foods for Kenny Travis. Remember?
Yes.
And they were a new team. They had a bunch of the best young guys in the country. They moved up to the pros, and so they were a pretty strong team. And in fact, when we posted that you were going to be our guest, one Pure Foods fan said, "Oh, this guy's the guy who gave us headaches." Because Pure Foods couldn't beat you guys.
Yes, and that's why, man. I mean, it was incredible, man. Because Kenny Travis, man, Kenny was. I mean, he a wiry guy, man. Kenny could score, man. He was a super athlete and everything. So you're right, man. So, oh man, that's right. I mean, all the teams, though, you know, back then, man. That's one thing I can honestly say. You know, I played in Europe. I played in Spain. I played in France. But bar none, playing in the Philippines, man, was the greatest highlight of my basketball career. Little did I know, as a youngster, as a kid, I would be playing in Manila in the Philippines, man. And I tell you what, man, I wouldn't trade it and give it up for nothing in the world, because for 4.5 months, I had a chance to share my faith in Christ. I got a chance to see 1.6 million people give their life to the Lord and get saved. That was special, man. Speaking of all those schools, 20,000 people, 30,000 people. And everywhere you go, people will love you and talk to you, and you can love them and talk back. So that's why, man, I would forever, you know, be in love with the Manila in the Philippines, man, because I got some family people there, man, that would just, it treated me with such respect. And when I came home, man, I cried. I mean, I cried on the way home because I didn't want to leave the Philippines. I loved it.
Well, which brings us to the question. Yeah, go Sid.
Okay. Yeah, the big question fans have been asking actually is, why didn't you come back?
I wasn't nobody. They didn't ask me to come back. Robert Jaworski didn't want to play me. Pure Food, Presto. You know, nobody wanted to sign me. I wanted to come back, man. I mean, I would have gave anything to come back to the Philippines, man.
What was your official measurement as far as height is concerned? Were you 6'6" by P-Bay standards?
I was 6'5". I mean, I was right on the 6'6" the standard, but I was 6'5".
Okay, so you could have played in the open conference.
So they never called, even Añejo never called you back?
Nobody never called me back, man. I just
crazy.
I never knew why. I wasn't expensive. I mean, everybody like to get paid, but I would have loved to came back, man, simply because I love Manila. I love the Philippines. I love the people.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. Not a single call through years after. Nobody called. None.
No, nobody.
And you were like at the peak of your abilities right there. You were only 25, right? 25,
exactly.
26 at the
And
time,
popularity as well.
And that's why I would have loved to came back, man, because, you know, I saw Billy Ray Bates, name flash up on his thing. He's from Mississippi, and I got some friends that know him. Went to high school, played in the same high school where he's from. So, you know, he's Perry Young and a few other people. I think Bobby Parks. You remember Bobby Parks?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. See, he nationalized. He was coaching, and he got a chance to do a whole lot.
He lived there for a long time, Joe. He lived there for a long, but he passed away a few years ago.
He for the national team.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. 2013. He got cancer, and he fortunately wasn't able to beat it.
Oh,
but his
so
son, his son plays for the Philippine national team now. Bobby Ray Parks Jr.
Bobby Ray Parks Jr. Yeah.
Wow.
And just to let you know, Joe, the best import award now is called the Bobby Parks Best Import Award.
Yeah,
really?
It was named after him.
Because he won it 7 times.
Oh, he was the man. I mean, I wanted to do what he did. I mean, I really wanted to have an opportunity to play and win a championship, man. Because even though we came in 3rd place, going from last place to 3rd place, how we did it, it felt like we won a championship because you know, I mean, it was a hard fought, you know, road to climb, but we worked together as a unit, you know, and did a great job, man. So that year was very special. That's why I wanted to come back and have a chance to win a championship, man. I would love that.
Yeah, it's
Well, for
really
the
funny because
record,
both you and Tommy didn't make it
Yeah.
back anymore. After
exactly.
that crazy conference, you guys are putting up 100 points a game combined, and
I
you
guess
guys
the
never
fight,
came back.
I guess the fight, man. They didn't want brawlers in the back anymore. They wanted brawlers.
Possibly, you know, that's the only reason I can see. I
Yeah.
mean, if I
Yeah.
had to make an excuse, that's got to be it, right?
I
You never
got to
came
be
back.
some kind of excuse, man. Because, but hey, I would love to have come back, though. Trust me.
Oh, well, for the record, in 1989, Añejo got Darren Queenan, and in 1990 they got Sylvester Gray. So, in other words, you probably wonder. They struggled first with Carlton McKinney in 1989. I was wondering it would have been better if they got you instead.
Wow, man. Those two young men were outstanding basketball players. Because a lot of time, they wanted to get the guys fresh out of the NBA a lot of time. If you just come out of the NBA from a notoriety standpoint, man, you know, they was always trying to get that import that had that big name that can come in and basically take them to the promised land. So, I mean, I understand. I understood.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, you went on with your career anyway. You played, as you said, in Europe, CBA, and all of that. So it's not
Yeah.
like basketball stopped for you, and your ministering didn't stop either. You were
No.
still preaching and all of that. So you know, life went on, but I'm sure you know it's a pretty nice feeling for you, Coach Joe, that you know how many years later people still remember. But I'm amazed at your memory because you know all the names.
Exactly.
You see the photos, you know all the guys you played against. It's amazing, Coach Joe. I don't know what you do, but that this is working really well.
Well, I tell you, when you got a coach like Robert Jaworski is the most famous basketball player in the world, dude. And he on Facebook. So whenever I see Coach Jaworski on Facebook, he's talking about the good old days. He keeps up with guys. He wishing everybody happy birthday. He's talking to the guys still to this day. So every now and then he'll put a photo of me and him on there, and I'll just comment and say, "Man, it's great to see you. Thank you for all the great memories. Thank you for allowing me to play for Añejo, allowing me to come in and do what I was able to do." Oh man, look at that photo right there.
Third place trophy.
That's the third place
Oh
trophy. Yeah.
man, look at Rudy. Look at Root. Tommy D.
Yeah.
Oh man. Look
And
at
the other
that.
guy, you know, Leo. That's Leo Isaac.
Yes, yes, sir. Oh, that's Pretty
He's a-
Boy.
he's
I
a-
used to call him Pretty Boy.
Yeah, that's right. He became a coach. He's a coach now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Became a PBA
Coaching
coach.
for-
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he's
many
doing an
years.
outstanding job, man. He was smart, man. He knew the game. I'm sure he's doing a wonderful job.
He's been on our show. He's been our guest. It's Rudy, who doesn't want. He
Rudy,
said no already. Yeah, he doesn't want to come on the show, Rudy.
Rudy, you better get on this show, man. You the man, Rudy, the street up. Yeah, man, the people love you. We're grateful, man, for all that you gave, man, as a player, man. Get on this show, son, in Jesus' name.
Exactly.
He'll be coming soon.
People are asking. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I hope he comes on, and by your prayer, I hope he does. But you mentioned, you know, you do pray a lot, Coach Joe, and all of that. You mentioned Sonny Jaworski. I don't know if you're aware. You know, his family announced that he's a bit ill nowadays. So Coach Sonny's sick. So you might want to include him in your prayers too. You know.
Yes, right.
Yes,
yeah.
I will. I sure will, man. I sure. Thank you for. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he hasn't shown himself in public in quite a while. You know, of course, the pandemic came and all of that, so he's battling some sort of blood disorder or whatever. His son announced it, so yeah. So I'm pretty sure, you know, your prayers will be appreciated.
I would definitely be doing that, man, because Coach Jaworski, man, he was a special brother, man, very special man. And then one thing I like about him, man, he loved the people, and the people loved him. He never turned nobody away. He never said no. He always signed autograph. He always talked to the people. And, you know, even years later, he's still doing it, man. So he is the PBA man of the century. He is the PBA.
No arguments from us. I just wanted to comment on this photo, guys. Look at Tommy Davis. Look at Coach Joe. You know, the way they're smiling, you would have thought that they got into a brawl just a few nights before this.
Yeah.
Look at those smiles.
Yeah.
You know?
We was happy, man. I mean, Tommy and I'm sure he's going to be on. Well, I can't say, well, if he ever come on the show, he will be coming soon. I don't want to get the cat away and let the cat out of the bag. But, man, listen, that smile that you see on both of us, man, was complete joy just to be able to play in that wonderful league and be a part of that, man, in that wonderful country, man. Listen, I mean, it was just a special time for us, man. Awesome.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. And shortly after this, you left, and then who would have known that you wouldn't ever come back? You know, I mean, you see the banner at the back, Coach Joe. It says KP. That's the brand of shoes. I'm sure they got you some KP shoes back then.
Yeah, I did have some. I had some of those shoes back then.
What's the next photo, Claude? Let's check it out. I mean, I love this photo, but what's next?
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah.
And see, that
This
was
in Cebu,
See,
Cebu province. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing I love. Matter of fact, I got on a Jumpin' Joe T-shirt, and I was giving those T-shirts all over the country. I mean, you remember back then the place. What we usually have a name. It was a lot of garbage and stuff. What was it called back then?
Payatas.
Smoky Mountain.
Smoky Mountain.
Mhm.
I used to love going to the Smoky Mountain, man, because they had a basketball court in the middle of that place, right?
Mhm.
And I would go there and speak and do a clinic. Thousands of people would show up. Thousands. Man, I used to be so honored to be amongst the people, to have a chance to talk with them in fellowship. And there again, go eat with the people, man. Oh, God, it was just a special time, man. So you see this picture here with all these young men. And I bet you, man, all these young men have got their own families and they're married, doing great, successful businessmen, doing great. Oh, man, that's a wonderful photo, man. I'd love to have something like that. I never had that picture. That's awesome.
We'll send it to you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Send it to me so I can send it to Coach Joe.
Look how skinny I was back then, man. I was a skinny dude, wasn't I?
Yep.
Were you called Jumpin' already prior to the PBA, or did Jumpin' come from the PBA?
What's that?
Were you called Jumpin' Joe already prior to the PBA?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I got that nickname from Clint Bryant, who used to be the assistant coach at Clemson University. And when I got to Clemson, they did a story about me signing with Clemson, and I was doing a dunk show in Atlanta, halftime of the Atlanta Hawks and the Milwaukee Bucks. And there was a picture of me jumping and dunking, and they put that on the front cover of the magazine called IPTE. Magazine at Clemson, and Clint was the one to say Jumpin' Joe Ward has signed with Clemson University, and that's where the name came from. So Clint Bryant gave me that nickname when I was coming out of high school.
And it's stuck.
And it's stuck. Obviously, it's stuck.
It's been with
For
me
obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yes.
No better word for it.
God, I see those coconut trees in the background.
Uh-huh.
Are those coconut palm trees in the background?
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder, it makes me wonder too, because you mentioned it, Coach, where these young gentlemen are now. Probably, what are they doing? Would be great if anybody is watching and is in that photo.
Yeah.
Please let us know.
Please
Know
do.
what
Please
they're
do.
doing right now.
They're probably multimillionaires. They're doing it, changing the world. I guarantee you.
I hope so. I hope they're doing good stuff for the society here in the Philippines. So you got to do a lot of things. Imagine just 4.5 months, but you went around and you did a lot of things.
Yes.
And not just here, but even in Europe, Coach Joe, when you played there, did you get the chance to get communities together to talk about Jesus and all of that?
My favorite thing about basketball is I tell people, even to this day, if you touch the people will touch you. So to be able to play basketball, be a professional, and have a chance to be a part of the community, man, was always something special to me. When I was in high school, college, and pros, especially at the University of Georgia, if an athlete needed to go speak somewhere, they always called on me. I was ready to go. And in the pros, I believe in serving the people, man, because these are the people that were your fans, that will be your fans. So when you go and give them and speak with them and spend time with them, man, they'll come back and spend time with you. Oh, man, look at that. One of our basketball camp. Now, that's my camp. Well, Jumpin' Joe basketball camp with my Georgia shirt on. Those kids, we had 500 kids a week that would come to camp. Did that from 1986 until we finished in 1986, 2012 or 13. We did it for 32 years.
Whoa, okay.
And the only reason go ahead.
When did you stop playing basketball competitively, Coach?
1994. I left Spain.
Okay.
I left France, Chalon. and flew back to Yakima because I played also for the Yakima Sun King. I had a team
That's
in
right.
Europe sign me, so I put my truck in storage, my furniture, my truck in storage, and I flew to Chalon, Italy, Chalon, France. And when I came back, I got off the plane. And matter of fact, Henry asked me, could I play in a CBA game? And I played, and I was out there on defense, and I was standing guarding a point guard in half court. And guys, I had him blocked. I had him D'd up. That young boy went by me so fast, man. I was like, man, where did he go? Where did he go? And so Henry started laughing after the game. He said, what happened? I said, time for me to leave. I'm retiring. Because, man, I was 34 years old. And I told him, I said, Henry, these kids are too fast anymore. So I finished at 34 years old. And I haven't looked back since. I was grateful, had a great career, and very thankful, man, for being able to play this game I love.
And you did clinics for as you said, a long time. But when did you get into coaching, actual coaching? Like, because you are a coach right now. Recently, you're coaching a high school in Knoxville.
Yes, Central High School.
How'd you get into that?
Well, primarily, it started kind of with AAU basketball. My son was playing AAU basketball with the Shockers, Jeremiah, and I got a chance to coach, be an assistant coach, coaching on a wonderful young man here, Ace, who loved kids, had an outstanding team. And so I was his assistant coach for a number of years. And then, as my boys got older, man, I decided to go ahead and put my own team together called Kingdom Ballers. And so we got to be very successful. We ended up coaching some of the top guys in this area. And my son was playing high school ball, and the team wasn't doing too well. And so the faculty and the people contacted me and asked me, would I be interested in coaching? Because they said, if some changes need to be made to the program, what do I think need to happen? And I told them. And so to make a long story short, they said, well, will you be interested in taking the job? I took it last April. And, man, already we've had some tremendous success. Matter of fact, we had a scrimmage game tonight against it's like a not a high school team, but it's like a prep school, the next level, Mallory Academy. So we played those guys. These guys are already, kind of like, college guys getting ready to go and play. They are playing college ball at prep school, and we end up beating them 76-71. And I am blessed, man. I got an outstanding team that I'm coaching this year, man. My boss, Dr. Brown, awesome principal, J.D. Lambert, man, our athletic director, and the staff that we got at Central High School, man. I'm honored to be a part of the Bobcat Nation and stuff. So we got a jamboree game on Monday, and our first game is this coming Tuesday night. So I'm excited, man, to be able to coach in high school and have my first chance to coach high school ball.
That's great.
Yeah. A lot of people, a lot of the coaches now, they complain about the kids, attitudes and all of that. And it's a different world nowadays. What can you say about that, Coach Joe?
Yeah. Well, it is different, man. But Charlie, you know what? Here's the thing that I've come to understand, man. When the Bible said that love cover over a multitude of sin and attitude and situation problem. When you love kids, man, and you talk to them the right way and you love on them the right way, man, you'll be amazed how kids will respond. All kids are looking for, like, all of us on this program right now, we was kids at one time. And when people treated us with respect and was special to us, we never forgot that. So, now we're in our professional lives and professional careers. Even this show today, we're having a chance to make an impact, to make a difference. And I'm trusting and praying, man. I've been looking forward to this, man, for weeks and months. And I don't want to make sure I don't forget to tell you guys, man, thank y'all so much for allowing me to be a part of this, man, because you could be talking to anybody in the world you want to, because you guys got a great show. And to bring me on, man, I'm honored to be able to talk to you gentlemen, man, because, you guys are old enough to remember when I played. Like I said, January 21st this year, coming up, 2023, I'll be 60 years old, guys. And it's just crazy, man, how time flies. I'm like, I'm about to be 60. And, my mom talking, and we talk all the time. I said, Mom, I'm about to catch you. She's 76. I said, girl, I'm coming up behind you. She said, I know, baby, but you ain't gonna never. She said, you ain't gonna catch me.
Yeah, no matter what you do. Hey, but Coach, the pleasure is all ours. Definitely.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And nice to talk about your career, guys. Any questions remaining for Coach Joe before we go into our regular segments? Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that smile.
Photos, yeah.
Listen, that photo right there, my son took that picture at one of his football games. He had a camera. He took that picture, man. It's legendary. That picture has gone all over the world. And my wife always tells me, you need to be paying Jeremiah royalty for that photo. It's everywhere. So I started laughing. I said, yeah, you're right.
That's what comes up if they search for Joe Ward. That's the picture that comes up.
Your Wikipedia page.
Yeah, you're right. But I got a new photo now, man. I mean, I've been taking pictures at Central High School, man. I look important now, man. I look like a coach now, so it's awesome.
But when I saw this photo, when I searched and I said, okay, that's him. That's the guy. That's the guy who played here. Because the face hasn't changed so much. A little bit of gray down here. But it hasn't changed so much. But you mentioned, Sid mentioned your Wikipedia page. There's a Wikipedia page for Coach Joe. I just want to say that there are some entries in that Wikipedia page that are wrong because there's a coach who came over here. He coaches now here in the Philippines. His name's Joe Ward. And some people think you're the same guy. He's a nice guy. He's a good coach, but he's not you. So anything about the coaching, he coached for UP and some other local teams. That's not this Coach Joe. Okay, it's a different Coach Joe. So maybe I don't know how to manipulate Wikipedia pages. Maybe that all that info needs to be taken out.
I'm gonna get that fixed one day. Because even when I was in the NBA, he got cut from a team, and it was in the USA Today newspaper, and everybody thought that was me. And I'm like, that's not me. I'm not. This is just Joe. I don't know who that is. But he and I have never met. But I have seen him in passing from a standpoint of his name. And so a lot of people over the time have gotten us mixed up. And I know exactly what you're talking about.
There was a news article actually when he came over for the first time. He said, former Ginebra Añejo import Joe Ward returns to coach in.
Oh my God!
And I was looking at the photo. No, I don't think this is.
He's a different guy.
I know he got messed up on that one. No, that was not the Joe Ward. He is Joe Ward, but not the Joe Ward.
Some identity confusion, with you guys. But that's not the same guy. But he's a cool guy as well. He's a cool Joe. There's two cool Joe Wards in the world right now. So
wonderful. That's a good thing.
And the other one looks like Samuel L. Jackson.
He looks like Samuel Jackson.
He does. You're right. I've seen him in photos and stuff, and I see him. I'm like, that's not me.
That's not you. But
Well, before we get into the segments, Charlie, Joe, I just have to ask you because this friend of mine since grade school is like the biggest Añejo fan ever. His name is Aldrin Uy. He would just like to request for a shout out from you. His name is Aldrin Uy, and he's watching right now.
Mr. Aldrin, listen, brother, it's an honor, man, to be able to say hello to you and appreciate you being such a fan of Añejo. I don't know if I had a chance to meet you when I played there, man, but I'm having a chance to meet you tonight on this phone and on this conversation. So, brother, I love you. Continue to lift up the Añejo Rhum guys, man, the San Miguel Corporation, the whole nine, man. Continue to be a big-time fan, man, because you're talking about a special brand of basketball, special brand of people. Awesome. So I don't blame you, man. I was a fan too when I was there. And that's why I miss it when I was when Eileen and Aunt Ruthie and everybody called and told me that Charlie wanted to speak to me, man, and set this up. Boy, you told my guy got fired up. I was pumped. So nice to talk to you, sir. Nice to meet you, and God bless you. And continue to watch this great show and continue to follow the PBA, my man.
All right. Amazing.
Thank you
Thanks
very
so much,
Joe.
Aldrin, special guy. Hey, there's someone watching right now. His name is Paolo. Hey, he's asking about me. I'm okay. I'm getting some allergies. He's asking why I keep rubbing my eyes. There's some allergies, some dust in the room. So I'm not crying because of Coach.
Joe, I thought you was crying, man, because you're excited about me getting the shoe, man.
No. That's gonna come later. But we're gonna enter our segments right now, our regular segments. This is the part of our show that we call the Twilight Zone, because that means the show's about to end. We're in the last 2 minutes of our show, as they say. Last 2 minutes. You remember that, Joe? They used to say that during the games. Okay, let's enter the first part of our Twilight Zone. It's called Excess It's called X's or O's. And in this part, this is sponsored by hinalabanstore.com. You can get their products on Lazada and Shopee. And of course, the hinalabanstore.com. Hinalaban Farms is our sponsor. Adlai Flour and Coffee. Good stuff. Keep you up all night. Drink their coffee. That's strong stuff. Okay. In X's or O's, Coach, I'm going to give you some choices. You just have to tell me which is your choice without having to explain why. I'll just give you a bunch of stuff. It's a list. You tell me which one you choose between the 2 or 3 choices, okay?
Okay.
Let's start. Okay, number 1, Joey Loizaga or Rudy Distrito?
Both of them.
Both of them. Nice. Okay.
Oh no.
Chito Loizaga or Don Ampalayo?
All the above.
All of the above again. Okay, we're going to get that again, guys. Okay. How about Sugar Ray Hall of Pure Foods or Kenny Travis of Pure Foods?
Kenny Travis, because Kenny and I, like I said, we played together in the WBL, the World Basketball League. So, man, Kenny and I we put on a lot of dunk shows, man. During the game, we would take a turn dunking, man, and scoring. So I really enjoyed playing with Kenny, man. He was an outstanding player.
All right. How about Norman Black or Bobby Parks?
Man, you called him some serious name. Bobby Park, man. Bob was the man.
Okay. You know that Norman Black still coaches here? He's a
He married a Filipino young lady, man. He's man. He probably watching this show right now.
Yeah, and his son
birthday.
plays for him.
It's his birthday,
It's his birthday
today.
today. Yeah, it's his birthday
Oh,
today.
really?
Norman Black.
Norman Black. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, brother Norman. Happy birthday to you. Oh, you guys didn't know I sang, huh? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
yes,
cut that
sir.
piece and
Hey,
then
you
I'm
gotta
gonna
cut
send
that.
that.
We need to send it. Yeah, we
I'm
gotta
gonna
send that to Coach Norman.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, Derek Rowland or Michael Phelps?
Oh, man, Michael Phelps, man. He was a man. That brother was powerful, man. Woo! Michael Phelps.
Yep, from San Miguel. Okay, Lewis Jackson or Tony White?
Tony White, my man T. White, who
White,
lives right here in Knoxville, who's, by the way,
Uh-huh.
recovering, doing very well. He's been very ill, too, for a long time, man, but I think Tony's doing real well right now.
Okay, well, if he's up to it, hook us up with him, man. We'd like to talk to him too.
Yeah, and I'll definitely tell him and let you know about you guys.
Okay. Shooting from the outside or taking it strong to the basket?
Man, back then, shooting from the outside, man, knocking that three-pointer down. Now, I like to dunk it, man. I saw one, matter of fact, there's a couple of dunks running around on the internet now. Just saw this week of me having a chance to get a cup dunk. But I love shooting them threes back then, man, because, boy, I was averaging about 7 threes a game.
Uh-huh. Okay, how about, I'm pretty sure what the answer is here. Scoring or passing?
What? Listen, Robert Jaworski did not pay me to pass the ball. He made that very clear. I don't pay you to pass the ball. Shoot the ball. Yes, sir, coach. Yes, sir, I will.
Okay. Billy Ray Bates or Kevin Gamble?
Oh, Billy Ray, man. Billy Ray Bates, man. That's my buddy, man. I mean, I know him, respect him, and his people and his family, man, in Mississippi. Kosciuszko and all those places, man. He's a legend down there, man.
Offense or defense?
Well, when I play, it's funny. Offense all day long. But now, as a coach, I'm all about that defense, man. I stress that every single day. That's how coaches, we all turn to defense, especially when we get old.
That's right. You suddenly realize the importance of the defense. Okay, Lakers or Celtics?
Lakers. My son is a Lakers fan, so he loved LeBron James, so I'm all about the Lakers because of him.
All right. Brad Doherty or Lenny Bias?
Wow. Now, it's interesting you would talk about, I know both of those guys. Brad
They
Doherty.
were the top picks in the year that you were drafted. So.
That's exactly right. And I told Brad not to come to Clemson, to go to North Carolina. If I'm coming out of North Carolina, there ain't no way in the world I wouldn't go to North Carolina. So he went to North Carolina, became the number 1 player, and Len Bias was the absolute 6'8" chisel from Granite. Incredible, super athlete, man. So we was in the same draft. You're right. He came out 2, and I was 31. So to have a chance to be a part of that same draft with Len Bias was very special.
So which one? Is it Brad Doherty or Lenny Bias?
Len Bias.
Len Bias, yeah. Okay.
What
Yeah,
could
I
have been?
guess
What
could have been. That's right.
Yeah, I'm a Celtics fan because.
He's a Celtics fan. I'm a Laker fan. Ewing or Olajuwon?
Oh, man. Patrick, you and I came at the same time. So Patrick was my buddy, man. Patrick Ewing.
Okay. Charles Barkley or Karl Malone?
Charles Barkley, man. That big boy. Come on, man. Ball head. That's my buddy.
Okay. Magic, Michael, or Larry?
MJ, my classmate, man. MJ and I go way back, man. We got a lot of fun memories, man, playing ball, playing golf, hanging out. and just being, what young men back then was doing. So MJ.
Playing or coaching?
Wow. Man, you ain't gonna believe this, man. I love coaching. God. I go to bed with it. I wake up with it. I just left it a while ago, man. And to win a while ago with my young team, man, was just so rewarding. Driving home, trying to get here before 8:55 so I can get on the phone with you guys. I told my wife, we don't have time to stop and eat. I got to get back because Charlie's waiting on me. I got to get inside the studio. We got to go. So, Charlie, man, you got my whole school, man. Everybody's talking about you, man, at Central High School. I'm talking about, it was people came in that room, man, where Miss Taylor was hooking us up, right, getting everything done. All the kids, man, was talking about, now I get a chance to show this to everybody because I didn't know how everybody in America can see this. Now that I know you guys are recording it, I'm going to put this stuff on Facebook. I got about 5,000 followers, man. Everybody in the world going to be able to see this interview, man. So I'm looking forward to it. We're going
to make sure everyone can see that. We'll send you all the links.
And the links.
Possible links. Okay, just a couple more. Number 1, Denzel or Will Smith?
Denzel's my man. Will,
okay.
I'm praying for Will Smith, but Denzel, the coolest brother in the world. Plus, he loves the Lord, man. Brother saved, awesome man, awesome actor, awesome person. Denzel Washington is the man.
Okay, the next is, show the photo. Which one?
Man, Al Pacino.
Pacino.
Yes.
Pacino. Okay.
That's the man.
Denzel or Pacino?
Denzel, man.
Denzel all the way. Okay. So that is X's or O's for this episode 153 of An Eternity of Basketball, brought to us by hinalabanfarms.com. Okay, who's next? Jay, I think it's you.
Yeah, our next segment is called Seryosong Tanong or Serious Questions. Seryosong Tanong. The delicious aromatic and crispy chili garlic bits in pure coconut oil, made with natural, locally sourced ingredients, no preservatives, no artificial flavorings, no salt. Ito ang chili garlic na seryosong manghang at kaya kang ipaglaban di gaya ng ex mo. All right, Joe. Coach, who is the better player? You or Tommy Davis?
Man, come on. T, I love you. T, I love you. That's why I say, Tommy, give me the ball. Give me the ball, T. I averaged 53 for a reason.
There you go.
That's the serious answer to your serious question, Jay.
According to Joe, it's not even a serious question because the answer is clear.
All you gotta do is ask the people there in Manila. They'll tell you.
All right. So that was a quick answer to that.
There you go. Okay, let's Seryosong Tanong, brought to you by Seryoso Chili Garlic Sauce.
Okay. Oh, Mr. Ventura, how about you?
Yeah. Before I go with my segment, Joe, I'd just like to say Aldrin sent me a message and he said he was nearly brought to tears by your message. So he sent me a private message. He was thanking me and said, "Yeah."
Look what he posted. He's ready to die now just because you greeted him.
Hey, Aldrin, no, not yet, man. Come on.
I thought I saw that. Yeah, I'm ready to die. Don't go home there.
No.
I saw that.
Not yet,
now,
man. Come on.
All throughout the show, I've been seeing some special people. Some of my family members, Eileen.
You'll see all those comments, Coach, when you watch it back.
Yeah.
Yes. Eileen and Auntie Ruth. Auntie Ruth, man, and the ministry there. So those are my family. I call them my family. We travel together, man. So it to see everybody flashing up, man, has just been wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my question, Joe, is if you had a chance to have dinner with any basketball player, past or present, living or dead, who would it be and why?
The same two guys, man, that I talked about earlier. I go to dinner with Dr. J. I've done it. I enjoy it, man. But to have a chance to spend some time with Pete Maravich again, hands down, man. Pete and I used to have some very deep conversation, man. And to talk with Pete and him tell you about life and what it means to him and his experiences, it was always a joy, man, to be able to talk to that brother, man. So Pete Maravich is probably my number one guy.
Yeah. Okay, that's a great answer, Joe. Yeah.
I have one last question. We didn't touch on it much earlier, but just shortly, tell us about your relationship with Dr. J.
Man, Doc, man, like I said, when I met him in high school, he gave me a pair of shoes that said Dr. J, Converse, size 16, 17. I cherish those shoes, man. So, like Pete, Dr. J was so kind, so nice to me, man. So when he talked to me and encouraged me, who would have known that I would grow up one day to sign with the 76ers and get a chance to play for my high school junior high idol, the same team that he played on. So when I signed with the 76ers with them until they signed Hershey Hawkins, that was a special time for me, man. So Dr. J, who now lives in Atlanta, Georgia, who, by the way, I will be contacting real soon to ask him if he would come to Knoxville, Tennessee, and do a fundraiser for me to help raise funds for my program, to speak on behalf of my team and to so I can sell tickets and everything. So I'll be contacting Doc soon to say, Doc, come and help me out.
Okay, you can introduce him to Charlie too. So.
Big time. Big time.
We'll give it a good talk to him. Okay, before we end our episode, Coach Joe, we have one last thing. It's called Hello Porky. This is the greeting portion. That's what the announcer on the PBA back then, Joe Cantada. I don't know if you remember him.
Yes.
That's what he used to say that to his son every day. Hello Porky when he'd start the coverage. So this is the greeting portion, Coach. In your long career, you've worked with so many people. I'm sure there's some people you want to thank, you want to acknowledge, or you just want to shout out to. You can do that now before we end.
Well, I mean, especially in the Philippines, and like I say, Aunt Ruthie and Eileen unfortunately lost her husband who was gunned down in their backyard. And I just talked to her a few days ago. I think she lives in Dubai now, but she was just saying how difficult it was, man. But her kids and her family and Aunt Ruthie and all the fans, man, Joey and all my teammates, Mark and JC Leviste, Mrs. Leviste, Mr. Leviste. I'm not sure, how they're doing now, man. But to be able to say hello to those guys, man, they were special people that I spent a lot of time with, man. As we used to go shopping, get my suits made, my shoes made freshly. That was awesome, man. So to everyone in the Philippines, man, I miss y'all dearly. I love y'all so much. Guys, what's so funny, I'm with Sprint and now T-Mobile. And the people that I deal with and paying my bills all the time, they're all Filipino. So I never miss an opportunity to tell them I played for Añejo. They said, no, Ward, no way. This is Joe Ward. I said, yep, this is Joe Ward who played with Añejo. Great conversation with all the people that worked there for Sprint and T-Mobile. Love you guys. Thank you for being helpful to me over the years. I appreciate you guys so much.
And you are so well loved here in the Philippines, Joe. You played one conference, but look at the memories. Everybody still remembers you and then everything you did and all the talent that you showed on that basketball court at the Ultra in front of all those fans.
What's the name of the new arena now?
They still use the Ultra. But it's got a different name though. Sometimes they use it's called the Phil Sports Arena, but they use the Mall of Asia Arena and the old Araneta Coliseum where the Thrilla in Manila happened. They still use that now.
Really?
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like playing in the NBA over there. I mean, it looks like an NBA game when you play in the Philippines now. It's awesome.
Yeah, they had a preseason game here, the Pacers and the Rockets in 2013.
That's right.
Yeah, at the Mall of Asia Arena.
And the FIBA World Cup will be held here next year.
Yeah.
Oh, it will be.
The Basketball World Cup's going to be here in August next year. Maybe you can come over.
You should come over.
Yeah, I would love to. Charlie, man, I'm going to hang out with you when I come over, man. You get me a place
to stay. I'll take care of you, no problem. Of course, Jay's going to pay for everything, but I'll be the guy with you. Jay's going to pay for it. He's the big boss guy.
I would love to come, man. That'd be special.
Yeah. There's a last message from Eileen.
I see. Wow. Yes, right. I used to say that all the time. I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. Eileen, thank you for sharing that, sweetheart. I love you so much. Give my love to the boys and the family and everything. Give them a big hug for me.
Before we go, I'd like to thank, of course, the usual people, PBA Archives and the PH Sports Bureau. Thanks a lot for helping us out with the photos and all the information. Of course, we're powered by San Miguel Corporation in cooperation with the rest of our sponsors on this show. Thanks, everybody. We are part of the Globally Ballin Network. Thanks to the Globally Ballin Network, Claudia behind the scenes, Aaron, of course, Carla, and the rest of the group. And then we'd like to greet our birthday celebrants from the past 2 weeks because we didn't have a show last week. So these are the guys who celebrated their birthdays. Vic Sanchez, Jimmy Manansala, referee Jess Thompson, Coach Joe Lipa, Coach Turo Valenzuela, Yoyo Villamin, Rick Katakutan, that's today, and Norman Black celebrating his birthday today as well. So those are the birthday celebrants from our AEOB family. I hope everything's okay with you. Happy birthday, everyone. Okay, we're going to announce our next guest very soon. Watch for it on our Facebook page. I hope everything pans out for that. And then, okay, so we're signing off right now. Coach Joe, thanks so much for sharing your stories.
Yes.
It's been great, and we really appreciate it. We're going to sign off now from episode 153. It's in the books for Sid Ventura and Jay Mercado and Noel Zarate, who's not here with us today. I'm Charlie Cuna, episode 153, signing off right now. God bless everybody. Thank you all. Coach Joe, I'll be in touch. Let's talk. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for coming on the show. All right, everybody.
We'll see you next week. Love you guys.
All right, Coach Joe. Now go have some dinner, Coach.
I'm going to go get some to eat right now. You guys got me hungry.
All right.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Ingat po kayong lahat. Kita-kita po tayo next week. All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Claude.